What's up, guys? My name is Javier and welcome back to Tool Craze. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at the latest Milwaukee M18 Fuel braking angle grinder. I remember last year they came out with the first 18-volt brushless angle grinder, which broke new ground for being one of the first 18-volt brushless angle grinders on the market. And not only that, they were the first to have what they claimed as being the power to grind and with quarter performance. This new model picks up where the previous models left off and now introduces a new safety feature with an integrated electric brake that can now stop the angle grinder in under 2 seconds. The reason for the new braking feature is summed up in one word: safety. How many times have you used an angle grinder only to set it down right after use and have the angle grinder skip around because the blade was still spinning? Or had to wait for the disc to stop spinning before you can set it down? Or set the angle grinder upside down on its back? Now you don't have to, because this angle grinder stops a disc very quickly at under 2 seconds. This is going to prevent damaging your disc, damaging your precious work surface, damaging your angle grinder, and most importantly, damaging yourself with injuries. Milwaukee claims that this grinder can stop under 2 seconds, and they go even further by saying it can stop a cutoff disc in 0.9 seconds, a flat disc at 1.3 seconds, and a grinding disc at 1.5 seconds. Let's take a look at their claims as I put them to the test, starting out with a standard cutoff wheel. The first brake was done in 0.81 seconds. The second was done in 0.77 seconds. And the third try was done in 0.96 seconds. Now with a flap disc, the first try was in 1.17 seconds. The second try was in 1.43 seconds. And the last try was in 1.29 seconds. And lastly, with a grinding disc installed, 1.37 seconds for the first try, 1.56 seconds for the second try, and 1.63 seconds for the last try. So overall, the claim braking times were very close, more or less. Even if the angle grinder took a little bit longer braking, at let's say 3 seconds, it would still be considered very quick at braking. But nonetheless, this angle grinder does better than that at just under 2 seconds on average. And even though it has an electric brake, it doesn't have a feature found on plenty of other grinders, which is a soft starting motor, as it starts up to full speed when it's powered on. I know a lot of other companies all claim that a soft starting motor is a huge feature, especially for safety reasons. But the truth is that even without the soft starting motor, it's not really a big deal. So your arm jerks for a split second when you start the grinder. Big whoop. But if I hold it with both hands, it doesn't jerk my arms. The braking grinder comes with a paddle switch only, and according to Milwaukee, they don't have any plans to make a braking grinding model with a slide lock-on switch on top. If you take a look at the grinder itself, it looks pretty much like the previous Fuel model. It has the same styling, uses the same gearbox and metal housing, which by the way is set to be the same as the corded models, so you get the same durability as the corded models. It has the same size capacity for use with discs up to 5 inches in diameter. It comes with an anti-vibration handle, which is nice because it can also flex and pivot at the base of the handle to absorb vibrations. The one thing the side handle doesn't do is that it does nothing to control the vibration coming from the main handle. But with or without the side handle, the vibration coming from the tool is nothing to complain about. And you can place the handle on either side of the grinder, either the left side or the right side, although it's missing the third spot on top of the head of the tool, like some of the other grinders. One of my favorite features on this grinder is that everything is toolless. You won't need a spanner wrench anymore, as it has a fixed tech lock nut with a flip out lever that allows you to tighten and untighten using only your hand. The only downside of this is that it's a bit hard to flip up the lever when you're wearing gloves. You can still flip it up with your gloves, but it's kind of hard. But either way, it still beats having to go hunt down your spanner wrench. It comes with a cutoff guard and a grinder guard included, and both guards are toolless as well. They're both very easy to install, uninstall, and to change their position. All you have to do is press and hold a switch up top and slide the guard over into position. Very simple and very easy to do without any additional tools. Also, just like the previous grinder, this grinder includes a couple of filters for the vents at the base of the grinder. So all that nasty dust and debris doesn't get inside and ruin the motor and the gearing, thus extending the tool's life. One comes installed, and in case you ever lose that one, another one comes included as an extra. As for performance, Milwaukee claims that their M18 Fuel brushless angle grinders are unlike previous cordless grinders, as they claim that they have the power to grind with performance similar to that of corded grinders. Personally, I never got to try out the previous cordless brushed angle grinders, but looking at plenty of other people's reviews, they're all pretty much the same, saying that the brushed cordless angle grinders were pretty much only useful as cutoff tools, as they didn't have enough levels for grinding. So that's one of the things I set out to see if this brushless fuel model had what it takes to live up to its claims. So the first test I did was with a flap disc, so we can see how effective it is with a bit of pressure. In this first test I put out a decent amount of pressure, not too much. What I wanted to do here was to remove all the rust that had built up over time on this large piece of square, or should I say rectangular tubing. It did well, and it resurfaced the tubing back to a nice, smooth, shiny finish. And all without the motor stalling out. But then again, I didn't press very hard, and I let the flap disc do most of the work. Now onto some serious grinding, and this time with a grinding disc. The whole purpose of this test is to stress test the motor and see just how powerful it really is, as I try my hardest to push the motor to the max and see if I can stall out the motor. One thing that I can easily say was that this was not easy to do. I started out with moderate pressure, and the motor does slow down a bit after moderate pressure, but it has plenty of torque to keep on grinding. Even when pushed as hard as I could, it would keep on going. If you listen closely, you can actually hear just how much the motor slows down. But this is very impressive considering just how much pressure I have on the grinding disc. Eventually the motor does cut off, but only because I overheated the battery. Now before you come to any conclusions, remember that I was pressing down with all my strength and it was able to keep up before the battery got too hot. Under normal circumstances, I doubt anyone will be pressing down as hard as they can, so it's not something that will be done in the real world. But I did it for you guys just so you can see how much power it has. Overheating should not be a problem with regular use. After trying it out a few more times to get the motor to stall, I found out that you can stall it rather quickly if you press down with all you got very quickly, as we can see here. This time around, the overload protection kicks in to protect the motor and batteries. But once again, this is something nobody's going to do when working. You can still press down hard without having to worry about the tool electronics kicking in. So it has serious performance for a cordless grinder. If it were a corded grinder, I would say it's just shy of a 6 amp model. If you're expecting the performance of a 7 amp model or higher, all I can say is keep looking. Unlike corded models that can get upwards of 11,000 RPM or even higher no-load speed, this cordless angle grinder maxes out at 8,500 RPM. It may not be the 11,000 RPM or higher like the corded models, but the way this motor works is it has lots of torque throughout its RPM range, and it can maintain its torque performance even when it's pressed hard. So out of the box, you have two options to purchase this model, either as a bare tool for $220 or as a 2-battery kit for $450. What's sweet about this grinder is that it's the first M18 kit that comes with the XC 5.0 batteries instead of the 4.0 they've been using for some time now. The good news is that now you have a larger gas tank to go along with the brushless motor for even longer runtime than before. The bad news is that these batteries take longer to charge, so it's a bit of a trade-off. Longer runtime and longer charge time at around 1 hour and 45 minutes to charge. And when you buy it as a kit, it comes with a handy-dandy hard case, and I like that it has a few slots here for storing a few grinding and cutoff wheels. This new model is about $50 more expensive than the regular M18 Fuel brushless angle grinders, but added safety does come at an added price. You no longer have to worry about the wheel spinning long after you stop using the tool and having all sorts of damage or injuries to yourself from setting the tool down. One thing I will say is that the electric brake isn't really a necessary feature, as many of us have gotten accustomed to regular grinders that don't have the fast braking electric brake. So for some, the extra $50 might not be worth it. On regular grinders, you can always set them on their back with the blade facing up as to prevent this issue. But if safety is a first priority, especially if you have newbies on the job using angle grinders, then this might be a must-have for you. Also, if you use grinders a lot, especially without the blade guard installed, then you'll definitely see the benefits of having a fast braking angle grinder. Alright guys, thanks for stopping by and checking out Milwaukee's latest M18 Fuel fast breaking angle grinder. Let me know what you guys think of this angle grinder in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on social media, Google+, Twitter, Facebook, and over at the web at toolcraze.net for more tool reviews and tool news. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.